Today our topic is the nature of free will. Do we have it? Free will is one of the most debated ideas in philosophy, and it asks a simple but deep question. Are we truly free to make our own choices, or is everything decided for us by forces outside our control? This question has been discussed for thousands of years, and it still matters today because it affects how we see ourselves, our lives, and our responsibility for our actions. Let's explore this idea step by step, using simple words and clear examples to understand what free will really means and whether we have it. First, let's define what free will is. Free will is the ability to make choices that are not determined by outside forces. It means you can decide what to do, think, or feel without being completely controlled by fate, God, or the laws of nature. For example, if you choose to eat an apple instead of a banana, free will suggests that this decision comes from you, not from something else forcing you to pick the apple. But is it really that simple? Some people think free will is real, while others believe our choices are not free at all. Let's look at both sides. On one side, there are those who believe in free will. They say that humans have the power to make their own decisions and shape their lives. This idea is important because it gives us a sense of control and responsibility. If you believe in free will, you might think, I chose to study hard, and that's why I passed the exam, or I decided to be kind, and that's why I have good friends. This belief makes us feel like we are the authors of our own stories. It also makes us accountable for our actions. For example, if someone commits a crime, we blame them because we believe they could have chosen not to do it. Free will is closely tied to morality, justice, and personal growth. Without it, some say, life would feel meaningless because our choices wouldn't really matter. But on the other side, there are those who say free will is an illusion. They argue that everything we do is determined by factors outside our control, like our genes, our upbringing, or the laws of physics. This view is called determinism. Determinists believe that every event, including human actions, is caused by something that happened before it. For example, if you ate an apple instead of a banana, a determinist might say it was because of your past experiences with fruit, your hunger levels, or even the way your brain is wired. In this view, your choice wasn't really free. It was the result of a chain of causes and effects that started long before you were born. Some determinists go even further and say that if we knew everything about the universe, we could predict every choice a person would ever make. This idea can feel unsettling because it suggests that we are not as free as we think. Now let's think about how science fits into this debate. Neuroscience, for example, has shown that our brains make decisions before we are consciously aware of them. In experiments, scientists can predict what a person will choose to do seconds before the person themselves knows. This makes some people wonder if our sense of making free choices is just an illusion created by our brains. On the other hand, quantum physics introduces randomness at the smallest levels of the universe, which some say could leave room for free will. But even this is debated, because randomness is not the same as freedom. If our choices are random, are they really ours? The relationship between science and free will is complex, and it doesn't give us a clear answer. Religion also plays a big role in this discussion. Many religions teach that humans have free will because God gave it to us. For example, in Christianity, free will is seen as a gift that allows people to choose between good and evil. Without free will, there would be no sin, but there would also be no virtue, because both require choice. In this view, free will is essential for morality and spiritual growth. But some religious traditions, like certain forms of Calvinism, teach predestination, which means that God has already decided everything that will happen, including who will be saved and who will not. This idea challenges the notion of free will and raises difficult questions about fairness and responsibility. Philosophy offers many perspectives on free will, but one of the most interesting is Stoicism. The Stoics were ancient philosophers who believed in accepting things we cannot control and focusing on what we can. They didn't deny that external events are determined by fate, but they said we still have control over our thoughts, attitudes, and actions. For example, if you lose your job, you can't change that event, but you can choose how to respond to it. You can feel angry and give up, or you can stay calm and look for a new opportunity. In this way, the Stoics believed in a kind of limited free will. They taught that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we can control how we react, and that is where our freedom lies. This idea is empowering because it shifts the focus from what we can't do to what we can do. Another important idea in philosophy is compatibilism, which tries to combine free will and determinism. Compatibilists say that free will doesn't require the absence of determinism. Instead, it means acting according to our desires and intentions, even if those desires are shaped by factors outside our control. For example, if you choose to eat an apple because you like apples, your choice is still free, even if your preference for apples was influenced by your past experiences. In this view, free will is about being able to act on your own motivations, not about being completely independent of all influences. This idea is appealing because it allows for both freedom and responsibility without denying the role of determinism. So, do we have free will? The answer depends on how you define it. If free will means being completely independent of all influences, then it's hard to argue that we have it. But if free will means having the ability to make choices based on our own thoughts and desires, then it seems we do. Maybe the truth lies somewhere in between. Perhaps we are not entirely free, but we are not entirely determined either. We are shaped by our genes, our environment, and our past. But we also have the power to reflect, to choose, and to change. This middle ground is where most of us live our lives. We make decisions every day, and those decisions matter, even if they are influenced by factors outside our control. Ultimately, the question of free will is not just a theoretical debate. It has real-life consequences. If we believe in free will, we are more likely to take responsibility for our actions and strive to improve ourselves. If we don't believe in it, we might feel less accountable or even hopeless. But perhaps the best approach is to focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. This is the wisdom of the Stoics, and it's a practical way to live. We may not have complete freedom, but we have enough to make our lives meaningful. We can choose to be kind, to work hard, to learn, and to grow. And in the end, that might be the most important kind of freedom of all. So, while the debate about free will may never be fully resolved, we can still live as if our choices matter, because they do. They shape who we are and the world we live in. And that, in itself, is a powerful reason to believe in the possibility of free will.